Welcome back to CBS Sports HQ. Jeremy St. Louis alongside wagering expert Jon Berger. Jon, I'm going to start this conversation about picks and props for tonight's game by letting you know, outing myself a little bit. Me and a group of friends of mine, we play a lot of Madden. And so on game nights, though, we have a moratorium that we do not play games on game night. Tonight's a game night. Got a text message today saying we're playing games tonight. No respect for Commanders Bears. So
just
Jon,
so I'm clear, game night, Madden game night, you're pushing the Thursday night football aside. I just want to be clear on the message here. That's what we're saying.
This week they are. And I said, wait a second, it's Commanders Bears. They're not glued to that. So
yeah, I get it, man.
I want to make some.
What's the over-under? Like, we ought to put an over-under out there in terms of audience engagement. We'll do that after the show, just me and you.
Yeah.
Like how long the audience sticks around when it's 6-3 in the second quarter.
Yeah.
We got props to make, though, man. Let's get going here.
Yeah, so let's start with your best bet for a Bears player prop in this one.
You know, when I think about the Bears, I think about Justin Fields. There's a couple different things that are going on. I think I'm going to take the under on 173 in terms of passing yardage. When I look at him and I look at this offense, this is an offense that is just not performing. There's no other way to say it. They're only throwing the ball 18 times a game, which is a little odd. And in those 18 times a game, they're only completing 56% of their passes, which if you're not dialed into statistics and analytics and all these other things, I totally get it, but that's terrible. If you're only putting the ball in the air 18 times a game, you got to be way over 56%. And another thing you got to look at is they've only topped 122 yards through the air twice this season. We're going into week 6. So I don't quite understand this number. I think maybe Vegas is over-indexing on some injuries that we've seen in the secondary for Washington. But nevertheless, you wrap all this up. Thank God I took Math 101 at Ohio State, Jeremy, but I don't get these numbers, and I feel safe taking the under with Justin Fields. I believe it's set at 173.5. It may move around a little bit, but I still feel good about taking the under there.
I mean, it seems like a good bet. Last week he had his first 200-yard passing game of the season against the Vikings. On the Commanders side of things, Jon, head coach Ron Rivera had to have a private conversation with quarterback Carson Wentz after his comments he said were misconstrued by the media. But in terms of a Commanders' best bet player prop, you like Carson Wentz here tonight.
I like him in this situation. I like the value because the number's set at 217.5 in terms of pass yardage. We're going into week 6, so Vegas has set this number for Carson Wentz 5 times, and he's exceeded it, or he's hit the over 3 out of 5 times. So I kind of like that. The other thing is when you kind of unpack this, Jeremy, what does the math have to look like for us to win this bet? I mean, he's had at least 25 completions each game in the first 5 weeks. So when you look at kind of the game plan, you look what Chicago's going to throw at him, you look at the offense that's going to be called, we only really need him to get 25 or more, which he's done all 5 weeks in a row. We only need 8, 9, 9.5 yards of completion for us to get that bet, make that money, cash that check. So I think that's safe. I like the math. I like the way it walks up and it unpacks. I'm going to take Carson Wentz on the over at 217.5. I think that we got some money there. We can make some money there.
He threw for over 350 yards last week for the 5th time in his career. He's 1-4 in those games, so not a high success rate when he goes near 350. How about a pick for an anytime touchdown scorer? I like this one to cash for us, Jon.
I like Brian Robinson, the running back, 3rd-round draft pick out of Alabama. I think slowly you're going to start seeing him kind of emerge as the main go-to guy for the Commanders in the run game. They need that big kind of back that can thump, right? And you look at Robinson coming out of Alabama, he's no strangers to running between the tackles in the SEC, where you've got offensive and defensive line wars going on up front at the point of attack. That doesn't scare him. He's built for it. He's going to continue to carry the load. I think his load's going to increase. And quite honestly, I think in this game, you're going to have him have some success between the tackles. Don't be surprised if he gets more reps that you've seen in the last couple weeks. I also wouldn't be surprised with as mobile as Carson Wentz is. This guy, despite what you say about him, despite his numbers, despite this week, the guy is still mobile enough and athletic enough to escape the pressure, create some plays downfield. I think Robinson could be that guy that benefits from that. So I like our ability, and I like his ability to score a touchdown here for the anytime bet. Let's go cash that check as well.
And we like that number too, plus 180. Robinson led the team in carries and rush yards last week, 9 and 22 respectively. We love a good pick 'em when the teams are so good we can't distinguish between them. That's not the case here. These teams are a bad pick 'em. The total sitting at 38. What's your play on the lines?
I think with enough, I look at both coordinators, and I'm going to kind of take the numbers and just throw them out the window. I'm kind of thinking about job security if I'm a coordinator on both sides of the equation. You're going into week 6. Both these teams have not had great offensive years. They've got to figure it out. Somehow, some way, I'm going to take the over here. This number is set so low at 38. I'm just going to take the over in this situation because I think both coordinators are under the gun. These guys are going to have to figure out how to create more offense, more explosive offense, get the ball downfield, score some points. So I just believe between both coordinators, somehow, some way, we could get up over that 38 mark, maybe in something like a 24-20 game. I think it's going to be boring. I think, the NFL needs to take a hard look at who's getting scheduled on Thursday night. They can't have too many more games like we saw last week. I'm worried that this one's going to be kind of the same situation. But nevertheless, I think we're going to take the over here in the points and try to cash that one.
John, we're all worried about this game tonight. Commanders looking for their second win of the
season. So worried that you guys are playing Madden.
That's right.
First time I heard something.
That's right.
Awesome.
I mean, it's a little bit more competitive in theory.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. CBS Sports HQ wagering expert Jon Berger giving us his Thursday night plays for Commanders at the Bears. In terms of those plays, he likes Justin Fields to go under his passing prop, Carson Wentz to go over his, Brian Robinson at +money to score an anytime touchdown, and the Commanders in a pick'em and take the over, says John.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.